Hello, my dears. I am happy to be back to give you another important lesson, my dears. And it is important for me to tell you, all of you, that I miss you so much. Okay, I love you very much, and I hope you have the same feeling. Okay, and my dears, I want to give you the news that we are, approaching the final pages of the finishing unit of our book, Reading and Writing. And my dears, this may be the last lesson of reading and writing Q skills for you, grade 8, my dears. And I hope you found the units, the topics, all the information you got from this book useful, and it may help you in your future steps for educating yourselves and collecting as much knowledge as you can. And I am sure it will, if you have done your best to keep up with your homeworks and with the units, and if you have studied the units completely, perfectly. I'm sure it will help you in the upcoming years of your educational studies. My dears, for this lesson we go to page 190. Okay, we have comparative adjectives. Okay, this is another topic of grammar, the last topic of grammar we have. Comparative adjectives. My dears, you know that when we want to compare two things, so we want to say that, for example, this pen has some qualities, this pen has some other qualities, and we want to make comparison. Okay, so we need adjectives to describe this one and to describe this one as well. So comparative adjectives, we used to compare two people or two places or things or even ideas, okay, together. Look at these examples in the box. Crime is high in my neighborhood. Okay, I am afraid of getting the flu. Okay, and see, it's important for you to know that these are the comparative sentences. Okay, let's read them. Crime is higher in yours. So crime is high in my neighborhood, and crime is higher. So that higher, that means it is more than the degree, okay, in your neighborhood. I'm afraid of getting the flu, but my sister is more afraid, meaning she is more afraid than me. Okay, it's a comparison. It is comparing between two people, okay, for fearing something like a disease, like the flu. Here are some rules to help you form comparative adjectives correctly. So we have the rules. So the first point in our rules is what? When we see an adjective, okay, and this adjective is one syllable, okay, it isn't a long adjective, it's a short adjective. See, the one syllable adjectives, it is also called short adjective, like high, late. We don't do anything, we only add er. Okay, sometimes we have the e, we only add r. Okay, that's important to know, my dears. Sometimes we have the e, we only add r. For example, high, higher, late, later. Okay, that was the first point. Second point, sometimes we have what? We have some adjectives, okay, they end in a consonant sound, but before this consonant we have a vowel. Okay, as you can see, O before T, and I before G. When we have a vowel before the last letter, okay, which is consonant, we double the last letter. Okay, big, bigger. Hot, hotter. Okay, guys, I'm going to repeat what I just said, okay, so you understand more. In some adjectives, okay, they end in consonant sounds or consonant letters, like T or G. So those two are consonant. But before the consonant, before the last letter, we have vowel, I, O. So when we have a vowel before the last letter, so we double the last letter. Big, bigger, hot, hotter. That's it. The third point, we have what? It says, do not double the consonant when the adjective ends in W, X, or Y. Okay, so you have to memorize these three. W, Y, and X and Y. So when you see an adjective ending in these, okay, you do not double it. Look at these. Low, lower. gray, grayer. Okay, so you do not double it. Why? Because the adjective is, ends in one of these letters. Okay, so memorize these, please. And we also have adjectives that, end, in Y. Okay, my dears, now we have what? Another part of our, grammar lesson, comparative adjectives. When we have adjectives which end in Y, so what we do is we change the Y to I, then we add ER. Okay, Y to I, then we add ER. Scary, scarier. Crazy, crazier. Okay, so we are done with short adjectives or one-syllable adjectives. Okay, so this is it. And sometimes, we have long adjectives like fearful, like frightening, like amazing, exciting, dangerous, like these adjectives. They're also called the long adjectives or more than one-syllable adjectives. Some of them are 2 syllables, 3 syllables, 4 or 5 even. Okay, so what should we do with those? So we bring more. Okay, when the adjective is long, we want to change it into comparative form. We bring more. So fearful becomes more fearful. Frightening, more frightening. Why? Because the adjectives, they are long and they contain more than one syllable. 2 syllables, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And the last point we have is what? We use comparative adjective plus than. Okay? Than. In sentences comparing two things. When we are, as I said in the beginning, when we imagine we are, comparing these two pens. Okay? So we use than to compare these two. Let's find out, how in these examples. My neighborhood is safer than your neighborhood. So than, it is used to when we are comparing two things. My neighborhood, it is one thing. Your neighborhood is, the second thing. So 2 things. Your neighborhood is more dangerous than my neighborhood. So, do you see? If you notice, again we have than. So it's important to know, my dears, do not forget this point. When we compare two things, we should always have than. We should always have than. Then, before than, we have the adjective. If the adjective is short, like this one, we add ER. But if the adjective is long, we bring more. That's all you have to do. So this is the rule. You write down the name of the first thing, then verb to be. You have to consider that whether it's plural or singular is are. After the verb to be, we should have the adjective. But the adjective, if it is short, add ER. According to the rules. You have to, know the rules very well. And if it's a long adjective, we bring more. After the adjective, we have than. After than, we have the name of the second thing. That's all you have to do. That is the rule of than. Okay? So you should know. And for some adjectives, actually we have many irregular adjectives that, we can't apply these rules, on. We can't, say good, gooder or bad, badder. No. These are irregular. They have their own form. They have their own forms. Good, better. Good becomes better when we want to change it into comparative. Good becomes better. Bad becomes worse. When we want to say that something is, bad than something else, we say this thing, for example, is worse than something else. Okay? There you go. That is the grammar for this lesson, my dears. Now we have exercises. Okay, my dears, we have what? We have activity A. So we have a table. Okay, we complete this chart. We have adjectives on this side and comparative adjectives. So we change the form. Okay, so what should we do with these adjectives when we change them into the comparative forms? Number 1 is done. Afraid, more afraid. As you can see, afraid is an adjective which contains more than one syllable. Okay, it is 2 syllables. Okay, and it is important for you to know, if you want to know how many syllables does an adjective have, you have to count the vowels. Okay, my dears, count the vowel letters in the adjective, then you know how many syllables the adjective has. Okay, so number 1 is done. Look at number 2. Big, bigger. As we talked about before. The adjective, ended it in a consonant. Before the consonant we have a vowel, so we double the consonant. Big, bigger. Number 3, 4, 5, and 6, I will leave those for you. Then we have reasonable. It's a long adjective, right? So we say more reasonable. For smart, we say smarter. We add er. Okay? Why? Because it's a short adjective. That's why we use er for this one as well. And I will leave the other ones for you. And if you have a problem, you can Google it. You can search it and find the correct comparative form of these adjectives. My dears, when you turn the page, you go to page 192. We have what? We have activity B. In this activity, we use than. Okay, we talked about the than. Than here to compare between two things. Okay, to compare between two things. We talked about than, and here we write sentences about than. Number 1 is done. Look at number 1. Heart disease is more common than mad cow disease. So heart disease is something, mad cow disease is something else. So we are comparing these two. Which one is more common? So heart disease. Look at number 2. I believe flying is more dangerous than driving. Okay, so we have to bring than, and we have to bring more. Okay, and we have to bring is as well. Then we write down a complete sentence comparing two things, and I will leave the other two for you. Okay, do your best to write sentences for those two. You have the words. You have to only put them together to form a complete and meaningful comparative sentence, comparing between two things. Once you are done with that, my dears, we come to our unit assignments. As you know, in each unit of our book, we have been having these unit assignments. Okay, and they are very, very important because they give us proper practice. Okay, and each unit has its own unit assignment and has its own task for us. For this one, we have paragraph writing. Write one or more paragraphs about an unreasonable fear. Okay, so before we talked about fear, something you are afraid of, something that scares you, and some fears are reasonable, some other fears are unreasonable. See, when it is reasonable, that means the fear is very, the thing is dangerous, you have to be afraid of. But when it is unreasonable, okay, in Kurdish we say ترسكي معقول نية زور طبيعية يعني ليه ما ترسى. That is unreasonable fear. Okay, so unreasonable fear you don't have to be afraid of, but reasonable fear you have to be afraid of. Okay, so we have what? We have to first plan our writing, then we start writing the paragraph, but first we have to prepare the sections of our paragraph. Then we can write down our paragraph, which is the final step of our preparation. First we have to brainstorm. Okay, my dears, my apologies. For our unit assignment, before going to the brainstorm, my dears, it's important for me to remind you that think about the reading one. If you have to, please go back and revise the reading one, revise the reading two, watch again the unit video, okay, and also go over your quick write. We had the section quick write before the two readings, and we wrote some important information there. Okay, so you have to think about these things, these sources of information when you are writing your paragraph, because they give you extra information. For example, reading one gives you some information, reading two as well, the video, the unit video as well, and the quick write section gives you extra extra information to help you write your paragraph the way you want to write it. In our brainstorm here, so it is asking us to do what? Think of fears that you believe are unreasonable. Okay, so write 4 fears in the chart. So this is the chart, so we have to write 4 fears. Okay, then tell why they are unreasonable. So you have to say, for example, flying on an airplane, this is unreasonable. Okay, some people are afraid of this, but this is unreasonable. Why? Only 1 in 7,178 have a chance of dying in a plane crash. So that the chances of, dying, the chance of dying is very low, so you don't have to be afraid of it. For example, being afraid of lizard. Okay, it's a creature. It's a very small creature. Okay, it's a reptile. Okay, it lives on land. And some people are afraid of this. Okay, it is harmless. Some people may think it's gross. That's why, they are afraid of it. Maybe this is my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Being afraid of failure. Some people are very much afraid, are terrified of failure. If they fail, they think that that is the end of the world. Okay? Everyone fails, and it teaches us how to succeed. Failure teaches you how to succeed. You can add another fear, in your opinion. These are my opinion, okay? Add another fear, in this box. For example, being afraid of heights. Being afraid of dinosaurs, okay? Being afraid of, small space, like a small room or a dark room. Being afraid of darkness. Okay, so these kind of fears. We have so many, types of fears. And once you are done with this, we come to, planning our writing. The first thing we do, we write the topic sentence. So this is how you write your topic sentence. For example, dash is an unreasonable fear. Because, so you have to say why. For example, I say, flying on an airplane is an unreasonable fear because not many people die from, plane crash. So that is the topic sentence. You have to write this above in the first sentence. Then you explain the fear you choose. Then you explain it. Okay? And you say why people, are afraid of it. The third thing is tell why it is unreasonable. How can you avoid that fear? Why it is unreasonable. You have to explain it with 2 or 3 sentences. The last thing you write about is, your concluding sentence. In the end, you think that this fear is unreasonable and people shouldn't be afraid of it because of the above mentioned points. That's all you have to write. And my dears, I have prepared a map for you. Okay, I want you to look at this map. This helps you to write your paragraph, okay, correctly, and this helps you to organize your information, for the paragraph, neatly. This is, how you organize the different sections of your paragraph. So on the top, you write down the topic as usual. After the topic, the first thing we should have is the topic sentence. So this is the topic sentence you write. For example, flying on airplane is an unreasonable fear. Why? Because, so you have to say why. Why? So once you are done with the topic sentence here, you come to the second thing. Explain the fear, why people fear it. So you have to explain the fear. So explaining the fear, for example, you want to explain the fear about, airplanes, or people, having a fear about heights or failure. You have to explain it here. Why are people afraid of it? You have to write down, 2 sentences or 3 sentences to explain this. Once you are done with this, you come to what? Why is it unreasonable? Okay? Why is this something, simple? This isn't something serious. Okay? People don't have to be afraid of this. And how can people avoid it? How can you avoid, for example, being afraid of, airplanes, flying on an airplane, or afraid of lizards or failure? How can you avoid that? How can you manage your fear about failure, for example? So there you go. You have to write down 2 or 3 sentences to explain this. Why is it unreasonable? Okay, it is very simple. And in the end, in the concluding sentence, so you say, for the above reasons I mentioned, I don't think that being afraid of, for example, airplanes is reasonable. For example, you may want to write a concluding sentence like this. So there you go. This is the map. So if you follow this map, you can organize your paragraph neatly, and you won't be confused of where to put the answers of these questions, or where to put the information after or before each other. So this will help you. Okay, my dears. Once you are done with this, you can also double check your writing. You can also double check your writing if you turn the page and go to page 194. Okay, you can see this self-assessment table. I taught you, I talked about this. I talked about this, a while ago, and I explained that your paragraph should have all of these qualities, should have all of these features. If it doesn't have any of these, okay, so go back to your paragraph and try to correct it. For example, does your topic sentence introduce your topic and the main idea? For example, if it is yes, so you have to double check the topic sentence, then you can say yes, tick the box. Okay, and you can also find these words, okay, we studied in this unit, useful. They can help you, okay, for writing your paragraph. Okay, there you go, my dears. I hope you enjoyed and understood what to do with the unit assignment and also with the grammar topic. I hope you have no problem. And in case if you have any problems or difficulty, you can contact me and I will make sure that you get your help. Okay? And I want to thank you. Thank you very much for being responsible. Thank you very much for behaving responsibly, about your duties and your homeworks. And I want to, say that you benefited a lot from this book. Okay? This book organized, many sources of information, together. And the organization of this book is that you get, the most practice that you need to improve your writing and reading, skills. Thank you very much again, and I'm very happy that I have been, teaching you, and I'm proud of every single one of you, and I wish to see you, in the peak of success. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.